The water feels like silk when it's warm like this.
Oh, that's a nice description.
Swimming in silk. It's like I wait all year for it to be this warm. And then you just get these couple of weeks where it's delicious.
And when you say you wait all year, does this mean you swim all year?
I do swim all year. I do swim all year.
Which must mean a body of water like this.
Mm-hmm.
We're sitting beside a body of water in East London. It's a natural river of some kind. You must see it in many different characters, many different shapes.
Many different. And also, a word of caution for anybody that chooses to swim here. I know it extremely well, and I started out swimming here with other young women that I met. I'm not a young woman, but they were. We used to call ourselves the mermaids of the marshes, so it's thanks to them that I started swimming here about 4 or 5 years ago in the winter. But a word of caution to any youngsters who might come down here and swim, to be in good company, because it does get quite dangerous.
And that's from the natural flow of the water after rainfall?
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be, unfortunately, tragically, 2 doggies died here a couple of winters ago.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, because the owner or the dog walker, the dogs had come ahead. I wasn't here that day, but I heard about it the next day. There's kingfisher again. That's the 3rd time within 5 minutes.
You've got an eye for them. They're so fast, they zip past.
I normally hear the call first, and that's a sign, but this one didn't call. They came down to drink some water, and it was winter, and the current is very powerful sometimes in winter, especially like you say after rainfall, and by the time the dog walker came down they'd gone. So with caution. In the winter I use a rope actually to get in and out of the river. I attach it to a tree so that I can be sure that I can get back out because
So it must be strong.
It's strong and very slippery because I believe it's clay, or there's a lot of clay. So it gets incredibly slippery and very powerful, exhilarating.
So it's an exhilarating thing for you to do. Is it something that has become, over the last 4 or 5 years, your identity?
That's fascinating. That is fascinating. The reason I say that is because the father of my children, his mum was visiting a while back, and she said, "You will find your true identity when you stop swimming in the river every day."
So she didn't like this identity?
I don't know. I think she thought, we haven't spoken about it, we need to speak about it next time. But maybe she thinks I'm avoiding other things by swimming in the river. We'll have a chat next time. She's a very strong character. But you know what? Yes, I think it's enabled me to feel good about being in London. Because I love nature and I love swimming. And ideally, I'd live in the Mediterranean, right? Where you can have lovely warm water all year round. That would be my ideal life. But we're here for various reasons.
We are here.
In East London. And actually, it was thanks to lockdown that I discovered this place, like a lot of other people, in the summer, and just fell in love with swimming in the nature. There's nothing like it. It's not like a swimming pool or a Lido. Or even, I know that some people are swimming I used to swim in the ponds in Hampstead Heath, which is a wonderful thing. But it's a bit more organised. Now you have to pay, and the reservoir up the road you have to pay, and swim in a circle, which, and the water is clean there. It's, this is it's risky.
There's also something about moving water,
moving
because
water.
Essentially all the other bodies of water you mention are not moving, but this is moving.
This is moving, and I get incredible energy from it. And not only energy, like I wasn't having a great morning this morning. I've got things going on like we all have, and I was having a bad morning, not great. Not really in the mood to swim, but I know that it never fails me. I come here and I swim for half an hour maybe sometimes. You've got the egret flying over me sometimes.
I saw that earlier, further up the river, just standing there, all white.
All white, pure, like a miniature. They're like a small heron. I think they might be related. And, when I've got one of them flying over me and I'm lying on my back floating down a river in East London, it's pretty good.
It's different.
It's different.
It's very different.
It's different.
The rustle of the wind in the trees now tells us we're midsummer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of leaves on the trees. When you swim here in winter,
Oh, yeah.
it must be quite bleak sometimes, and it must be quite
incredible.
kind of like almost like moody.
So it can be mardy moody, but also it's a lot brighter. Interestingly, because you don't have all the leaves, the river the river seems wider. Say that a lot of times. The river seems wider, the river seems wider, the river seems wider, and more light in some ways. But yes, there is that white, pure white sky that we get in January and February when it's utterly freezing. And I learned how to make a fire not so long ago, and I'm probably not really meant to do it, but I'm very careful to put it out. So before my swim in the winter, I collect my firewood. There's a dead tree up there that was very good for a long time for collecting. I have it all ready. I make my little fire ready. When I come out, I light my little fire.
This is great. I love this. I love this idea
I have
of.
a little flask of soup.
Oh
you know.
my goodness, the life you live.
It's nice, and I have, just a little meditation time after with my fire. I actually bought this tin can thing, so it's even safer. It contains the fire.
So you could have put the fire within a tin can
Yeah,
kind of
it's
thing.
like a tin can thing you can buy. I'm afraid I can't remember the name of it, but it's super easy. And then I just get some natural, they're called woodies, little wood fire starters, in case, because I'm not, often the wood here is damp. So, and then I just sit with my soup, and I'll share a bit of my whatever vegetables are in my soup with the squirrels or the birds.
This is so you've got the water, you've got fire. This is the beginning of some kind of like lifestyle kind of like way of living, isn't it?
It's like, it feels more like how we're meant to live, on some level outdoors, more outdoors, connected to nature. And I understand that the River Lea, which we are at, I don't know which part exactly, but was the first human settlement in London, was down, which would make sense.
That's
by the
interesting.
River Lea.
Yeah, I know that it's one of those hidden
Yeah,
rivers that most
yeah.
people don't know about, but if you live in East London, it kind of used to be the heart of what was.
And it may be connected to the ley line that goes all the way down to Stonehenge as well, through Leighton. The River Lea, although somebody else told me it might be referring to a Norwegian god called Lu, which means light. But anyway.
This is all great. This all gives it a quality beyond what we see
It's
with
not
our
just-
eyes. A dog just came down beside us. Dogs are swimming. There are dog walkers around. You're never actually alone here. Does that matter?
Sometimes I'm alone here.
Okay.
There are times I'm alone here. I've had some tricky times alone here when I thought I was alone here and I wasn't alone here. Yeah.
So you're talking there about people you would prefer not to have in your vicinity. People who are a bit maybe.
People who were doing things they shouldn't do whilst watching me swimming.
Oh, okay.
In
That's
the
quite
past.
serious.
Yeah, it got very serious. Not last summer, the summer before. It got very serious. And so I did change the spot that I swim. In the winter, I tend to swim up by the bridge. I'm more visible.
And there's more people
There's
kind of.
more people.
Yeah.
And there's less bushes to hide in. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry to have to share that bit about it. That was the less idyllic bit.
Do you know what? It's life. There's the rough and there's the smooth.
Yes, so I think it's good that there are people around. I can choose to be here completely alone. I'll tend to do that in the morning, because a lot of people that might want to be tricky are often not here by then. If that makes sense. And the dog walkers are here in the morning.
It's a shame that has to be also part of the way that you're thinking, because I was having a conversation with somebody else in another of the podcast episodes, and he said it's always good to have a healthy dose of suspicion if you're in London. Otherwise you end up in trouble. And it's kind of true. You can't just be trusting and open, because you have to keep a bit of your guard up. You have to be a bit aware that not everyone is 100% good.
No,
in your vicinity.
Mm-hmm. And that's the same everywhere, isn't it? I suppose just when you are in nature and it's quiet and there are bushes, I become more mindful than I perhaps would in other places. Is that true? Yeah, I think that's true.
Going back to the identity thing, when you're not here, in a way, is this your own world just for you? When you go back to the rest of your life, this is unconnected to it? Or do you take this elsewhere? Do you tell people about it? Do you have an identity where you're just like, you know...
Well, they call me River now. A lot of people call me River.
That's great.
Or
What
Rivs.
a lovely...
Rivs. How are you, Rivs? My friend Denz calls me Rivs. I call her
That's
Sol.
a great nickname,
Yeah,
River.
River, yeah. I always feel that my well-being is at its best when I'm here, I would say. There's a really big difference between how I feel when I'm here and how I feel when I'm indoors. Where I live is a little bit dark. I mean, you know, I'm happy when I'm cooking. That's my other great joy, one of my other great joys, or spending time with my grown-up children. Of course, there are other pleasures in life, but I think this is where I'm at my most at peace in myself, and my most myself. I talk about it a lot.
That's great. And why not? We all talk about the things we love.
And and also I've gotten to know quite a lot of people here that also come here regularly, mostly during the summer months, but not always. So we have actually got what we call a little river family here. That's a group of people that come here. We don't know each other terribly well, but we know each other from the river. We share a love of the nature.
You meet just in this place. This is
Yeah,
where you
by
share
accident.
time together.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you don't meet outside, so this is
our space mainly. I mean, I think I have been invited to do other things occasionally with those people, but this is the main place where we bump into each other and share. And year after year, you know, we might not see one another from one year to the next, and then it's summertime and everybody's here again. It's how have you been? Wow, we're back by the river family. So yeah, that's nice as well.
That's great.
It is great.
This is a city of like 8 or 9 million people. I'm always astonished how few people search out the wild places.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is one of the wild places you can come, in quotation marks, in East London. Or you mentioned the ponds and Hampstead Heath. Hampstead Heath is quite often empty. Do you wish that more people came to these places, or are you quite happy that it's only a few who want to find this kind of peace and quiet?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because in lockdown, there were a lot more people here because people had to be outdoors and weren't allowed to meet indoors. So people that wouldn't usually find such spaces did, and I think really enjoyed it. Then at the end of lockdown, I noticed it became quiet. People went back to their, I don't know, where people go, the pub.
yeah, probably you're right.
Which is nothing wrong with that, but you know, I think a lot of people do still come here. The youngsters come, they party here. Unfortunately, people leave a lot of litter around. That's something that's problematic. Less so on the Hackney Marshes side because Hackney Council provides bins. Waltham Forest won't provide bins.
Oh, so this river has got a council on each side.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
Waltham Forest on this side.
How interesting.
And that's Hackney. And the bridge is called Friends Bridge.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's called Friends Bridge.
When you're swimming, when you're in the water, you must have a rhythm to your thoughts sometimes. When we have a history of geography, so when you reach a certain bend, you might think about a certain thing, or if you see a kingfisher, it might remind you of a certain thing. Do you have that kind of history as part of your swim? Yeah,
so it's quite a ritual for me, the swim, I think. It's part of my ritual, and I might be a little bit OCD as well, so the counting is a thing. I was told that by counsellor last year.
Oh, right.
We did the questionnaire and it was, do you do this? Yes. Do you count everything? Yes. So I like numbers 4 and 8.
Right.
I always did since I was a child.
Great.
So I count. So today I would normally have done 88 imaginary lengths of a swimming pool, but I did 80 because that's still an 8. So that was fine. So my thoughts, I'll lose count. And that's irritating when I lose count. But part of what I'm trying to learn to myself is to let go a little bit. It doesn't actually matter if you lose count. Does it really matter? You're in a river. But it gives me a framework. And also for me, it's my exercise. I don't like to dip in for the cold, just for the cold 5 minutes thing. I like to get my exercise here. So I'll swim for a while, and then my thoughts, it so depends what's going on. Sometimes you've got the blossom falling down all over the river. Sometimes you've got seeds falling down.
And that takes you into a different frame of mind.
In a completely different realm at different times of year, like you said about the colours of the trees. But quite often it's at its most magical when there are things slowly drifting down towards the water and then being carried downstream. Who knows where they go? And there'll be fish, sometimes quite big fish, this size, big. And it's, I suppose I always finish my swim with I'm not a religious person, but I keep a certain spirituality, I suppose, a connection to nature. So I have a little, I suppose it's a prayer that I say to complete my swim. I face which I've just sort of made up, I face what I believe to be the east, the south, the west and the north. And I just say to all rivers and beings, peace, peace, peace. And then I turn, and then I turn, and then I go to the earth, Mother Earth, and I look down and I say to all rivers and beings, to the molten earth, peace, peace, peace. And then I look up and I say to Father Sky, to the universe and beyond, all beings, peace, peace, peace. I say all rivers and beings of the sky, even though who knows. And then just, I say peace, peace and well-being to all those who I know, all those who I don't know, all those who I love, all those who I don't. And peace, and because in these times, that would be a good thing. So those are my thoughts that I send out to the river to complete my swim.
The river, you've talked about how you've seen it in different stages. You've talked about the prayer that you do, or the incantation, as it were. Do you, the more you come here, do you almost give it more soul? Do you give it more character? Does the river take on different identities for you? Does it basically become a richer place the longer you come here, if that makes sense?
Because I get to know it so well, and it feels like home, to be honest. If I could camp out there.
Well, the ravers do.
They do, yeah. I'm not that wild.
You probably were once.
I probably was once. I would love to spend more time here, but I wouldn't feel safe on my own to sleep out here. But yeah, it does feel like a kind of home. I know the water so well. That's why I feel that I'm safe in it. I don't take that for granted in winter. But because I do, I know it extremely well.
Do you feel that it has your back? Do you feel that it knows you?
Yes, I do actually. And I wasn't well a couple of years ago. I had a breast cancer in 2023.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And this has been my healing. I know people say it's polluted, that might not be doing you well. But to be honest, it's, my my surgeon was from Bangladesh, which is a country of rivers. And when I said to him, the wonderful Mr. Ula, I said afterwards, when can I go back to swimming in my river, or should I not because of the pollution, or should I go to the swimming pool? And he went, I'd rather the river than the chlorine. Go back to your river. So it's not just that, there's trees here that are very significant for me. And that time when I was not well and wasn't sure what was going on, I came here with a friend, and there's a tree that I feel, I call it my ancestor tree. And there's another tree in the middle of the field, a tiny little oak tree that I would always lean against when I was having hard times then, in those times. And I always have said, you're looking after me, I'm going to look after you. And in fact, it has, that little oak tree is being smothered by something called bindweed.
Yes, I know it.
And it's very
difficult. It smothers everything.
And it will, it could kill the tree because it takes all the nutrients.
So do you take it upon yourself to?
So I do what I can, but it's really difficult because really I've spoken to Kit, who's one of the rangers here who used to work at Kew. She's very knowledgeable, and she said really you need to keep raking and raking and raking and raking. But actually you need to dig.
Properly dig.
And I actually would like to ask the rangers to help me do it, because I can't do that on my own here.
So they say that because otherwise it keeps coming back.
It will keep coming back. So I have a tree to look after.
But in a way, the bindweed is also nature doing its thing.
It is also nature doing its thing. It is, and we do interfere. Which brings me to these things.
When you say these things, what are you pointing at?
So they have made some very pleasant gentlemen that work for Sadiq Khan. Was that the Kingfisher? I think it was. Did you hear it?
No.
There was some for Hackney. They work for Hackney, and they were last year building these dams to help. I think there's a whole plan to try and encourage more variety of wildlife in the river. I think they've introduced beavers as well.
Really?
I believe so.
Good Lord.
But
So they've put basically tree trunks out about 5 meters.
Yeah.
So they're just stretching out, and they sort of catch debris as it comes down and become a tiny little barrier.
and slow the water flow. I don't know enough, but what bothered me, and I told them that it bothered me, was that they were cutting down live young trees in order to throw them in the river, when actually nature looks after itself, and plenty of dead trees like that one over there fall down in the same way, just because that's what trees do, form their own dams. And I was upset by them interfering. There's me talking about interfering with the bindweed, so it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's where we interfere. But anyway, this was their project to be doing this. But I was like, well, why are you cutting down perfectly good young trees? Their understanding was that the last person who worked for Hackney had planted too many trees.
So they were redressing the balance.
They were redressing the balance, but yes, we don't stop interfering, do we?
Going back to how this river has been part of your recent life,
Yeah.
it's seen you through an illness,
Yeah.
it's seen you through difficult times. The more you come here, the more, does it become yours? Or do you become it, as it were?
It's not my river, it's our river, it's everybody's river. But I do feel it looks after me, and I do ask for it to help me. I do say, please help me with your wisdom and energy, if you can. Please help with my difficulties. But I don't feel it's my river. It's our river. Belongs to everybody. And the nature, above all, the creatures that live here 24 hours a day. It's their river. And actually, we have to be really respectful of the fact that they're nesting here. And I do understand that there's signposts along the river discouraging people from swimming, discouraging people from partying here, because it interferes with them. I think as long as we're relatively as respectful as we can be, and quiet, and I don't know what I think.
When you're not here, when you think of this place, your face immediately softens.
Yeah.
When I said that. What do you think of? What does it mean to you? What part of your kind of like life does it inhabit?
I suppose it's a reflection of my truest nature, which is maybe the bits of me I like the best, It's fierce, it's gentle, it's connected to nature, it's a bit spiritual, it's appreciating the seasons, appreciating life, really. I don't know. I'm getting shy now with this interview. I'm not able to connect with what I really think. Yeah, I think it's a reflection of the parts of me I'm most at ease with, if that makes sense. And then I go back to this, like now I've got to go to West London. I'll take the tube now. Now that doesn't please me.
Yeah, that's a completely different environment.
And I'm going there at the moment 3 times a week, which is something I wouldn't ordinarily choose to do.
When you're in the tube, sometimes do you come here in your mind? Can you recreate this place in your mind? You just close your eyes, you could be here and you can zone out from the tube.
I've not tried that, but I'm complaining about the tube, but actually I have wonderful adventures on the tube because I love people watching. So there's a whole other, I enjoy the interactions I have with people as well on the tube. So it's not all gloomy. I do love the vibrancy of people, of families with their children and the interactions they're having, and I often come away with a little story. So perhaps there are two separate worlds. I don't think I take this world there.
This stays here.
I think this stays here. I don't even think it comes home with me in the same way that maybe you are suggesting. And maybe that would be a really good idea to take more of it home, because I don't always find being indoors, like I say, at home, I don't find it very easy. But it's necessary.
It's life.
Got to do the washing.
We can't live on riverbanks.
Well, maybe not in this climate. And actually, the last thing I think... Oh, there's Kingfisher.
Oh, flashing by, a flash of blue.
Stunning.
Really close to the water. And calling as he or she goes.
Yeah. And quite often when they get to... I think they get to know me, that, I'm not a threat to them. They'll fly... When I'm swimming, they'll fly very close to me. Within 2 meters. 1 meter, 2 meters. And you see this flash of blue. I feel like I've been blessed, I feel like, oh, that's good luck. But the other thing I was going to mention was just, and it's not sunny today particularly, but when it's sunny and you get this sparkle on the water, wow. I mean, that's any body of water, isn't it? But something about the fact we're in East London, and it could be the Amazon. A lot of people say that when, you've got the Colombian families that come here at the weekend. I don't know if you've been here.
No, that's interesting.
Oh, you get all the South Americans here.
So it's not Londoners saying, this must be what the Amazon like, but it's people from that part of the world going, actually, this reminds me of home.
And they come and they are amazing. They come with their salsa music, they come with their barbecues, and they come with their tables in the water with their board games and with grandma. And
that sounds brilliant.
I should have spoken about this earlier, but I mean, this is summertime here. They come in the summer, and this weekend they'll be here, and they be swimming, and they all with their grandchildren, teaching them to swim underwater.
And they make it their own in their own way.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And you make it your own in your way. Yeah. People come here and find their own bit of the river.
Yeah, and
for their own uses and.
Absolutely, I think.
And you don't resent that. You don't think, I would prefer the river to be the way that I want it to be.
They invite you in as well. They're like, come and have some of our food. Would you like a rum? No, of course.
Great.
There was some Colombians or Ecuadorians last year, and the mama was sat on the old bank with a bucket and a barbecue, and the dads were collecting crayfish around their finger.
Oh my goodness.
Because there are invasive American crayfish. I think that we're allowed to eat, and they were scrubbing them straight on the barbecue.
Amazing.
That was last summer.
Wow.
And you've got people from all walks of life, haven't we? And that's the joy of London. Sometimes when you've got 5 different sound systems going at the same time, it can get a bit much down here.
It's a bit like a festival.
It's like a festival, but I just think, well, that's part of it too. Yeah. The clash of the music, got so much going on. Yeah, and then of course come the autumn I kind of have the river back a little bit more to myself, but in the summer it's wonderful. It's a whole different thing. The young people.
Well, you're very open-minded to allow it to be whatever it needs to be for anyone who comes.
Yeah, and I know that they're worried, the wardens and people, who look after the groundsmen are worried about the kingfishers and it will interfere. People who probably know a lot more about it than I do. But I also think that nature's incredibly adaptable to what's going on. And maybe I'm wrong there, but I don't see less of the birds because the people come here. the litter is an issue. Yeah. Dave, I've got to go. Got to go. and watch.
Go. You've got to get on that tube and get across town.
Oh, okay.
2:10.
Oh, I'm very late. That's.
Oh, I'm
okay.
sorry that I've delayed you.
No, it was a pleasure to.
It would be lovely speaking to you.